Hey, I'm Liz. I spent about 300 bucks buying these 7 camping fans. I put them all through these 6 different tests that you see on the screen here. And I'll also tell you exactly which fan to buy and which to avoid because, with every video, some of the gear will turn out to be pretty crap. The first test is wind power, and that's probably the most important thing to look at when you're buying a fan, right? So I split this super important test down into 3 main parts, and these are the wind speed, how big the blades of the fan are, and also the total airflow distance. Starting with the first point, the wind speed of each fan, I tested each fan using this mini anemometer. I held the meter in front of the fans on all their different speeds, I waited for the reading to stabilize, and then I took note of it. Here's all the relevant info you guys need to know about each fan's max and minimum wind speed. I arranged the table by the max wind speed, which starts from the highest at about 4 meters or 13 feet per second down to the lowest, which is about 3 meters or 10 feet per second. I don't think the minimum speed is as important, so it's just for your info. But wind speed isn't the only thing you should look at. The blade diameter is equally important. Even if a camping fan has a low max speed, a bigger fan will move way more air than a tiny fan and actually cool you down even at the lower max speed. So I took a measuring tape and I used this to measure out the total diameter of the blades. The results are all here, and of course, the bigger the blade diameter, the more air the fan will be able to move or push towards you, and the more of a cooling effect it will give you. But of course, airflow distance is also really important when it comes to wind power, because some really crappy fans can't push air enough. Let me show you exactly what I mean. To test for this airflow distance, I laid out a measuring tape diagonally across the tent, and then I stuck a windmill in front of each fan. Notice how it spins really quick. Then I moved the windmill away from the fan slowly until I found the exact point where it stopped spinning. That's the airflow distance, and this is the Geek Air that I tested here, and it's my best camping fan in terms of airflow distance. This table here will not only give you the airflow distance of each fan using the windmill that I just showed you, but also a rough estimation of the tent size that you will be able to use each of these fans in. Take a look at this table here. Notice one particular fan that was terrible in this test. Yep, you got it. That's the Coleman CPX6. It was horrendously bad here, and it couldn't even move a windmill even 10 to 20 inches in front of it. Only when I stuck the windmill directly in front of the fan, like 5 inches away, that it actually started moving. What's the point of having a fan if you can't feel anything from it, unless you're directly in front of it? And based on all 3 points that we just went through, so that's the wind speed, blade diameter, and the airflow distance, I took all these points to calculate the raw wind power of each fan, and here's how I rated each camping fan. The next test is the runtime test, which is how long each of these camping fans can last on a single charge. So what I did here was to give each of these fans a full charge, and then I set them aside while timing their runtimes with a stopwatch. And here's a table summarizing how long each fan ran for. Okay, the first column here shows all the different fans I tested, and the second column here is the max runtime, which is basically the runtime of each of these fans on the lowest possible speed. The minimum runtime in this third column here is the runtime on the highest possible speed. Remember all those speeds I gave you back in test number 1? Those are the speeds I'm talking about. Now you may be thinking, wait, each of these fans have different fan speeds. How in the world is this a fair test? Well, that's why I'm not going to rate the fans based on this column here. Instead, here's a brand new table for you to check out. What I did here was to get a speed that's as close as possible to 3 meters or 10 feet per second, so they range from 2.6 to 3.1 meters per second here, and then I took the runtime of that particular speed for each fan, and I arranged them from longest runtime to shortest runtime. I think this is a much fairer test, right? The first 3 fans on the list, which have the longest runtimes, are battery-operated fans. Each of them take anywhere from 2 to 6D batteries, which gives you a significantly longer runtime, but these can get real expensive real quick. I personally prefer rechargeable fans, so that's the next 4 fans on the list. They're a lot more environmentally friendly, I save a lot more money in the long run, but of course, look at the runtimes, they can be significantly shorter. It's a trade-off, and you gotta decide which one you prefer. For now, based on all these runtimes, here's how I rated each of the camping fans. The next test is the noise level test, or how much noise each of these fans produce when they're turned on. The test is I got this mini sound meter. The base sound level without any of the fans on comes in at about 41 decibels. Now with each of the fans turned on, here are all our results. The second column shows the noise level in dBA on the slowest fan speed, and the third column here shows the noise level on the fastest fan speed, which is how I arrange all the fans here, from quietest on the fastest fan speed to the loudest. To me, all the fans were actually fine. None of them really bothered me all that much, and I honestly don't really mind a little bit of white noise when I sleep. And here's how I rated each of the fans for their noise level. The next test is on the number of features each fan has, and this is a big one, so strap in for it. I'm going to start off first with the simplest features of any great camping fan. And these are whether there's a hook to hang the fan up in a tent, whether the fan has legs or a stand allowing it to stand on its own so that you'll be able to stand it up at the bottom of your tent instead of hanging it at the top, whether there are any battery lights to let you know how much battery you have left, whether the fan head can be rotated to face the front or back, and whether the safety cage at the front of the fan can be removed for easy cleaning of the blades. So obviously the more features the fan has, the better I would think it is, and the higher I ranked it near the top. You can pause the video here anytime to check out which features are important to you and see whether the fan you want has them. The next few features are going to be a little bit more complicated because they involve more info. Next, we're going to look at whether the fan has an automatic sleep timer, and here's all the info you need to know. Honestly, I think this is a super important feature to have in a fan, at least for me, because it allows me to conserve battery by having it turn off automatically after I've already fallen asleep. But only 2 of the fans here have that feature, and that was kind of surprising. Next up, I tested whether each fan has some sort of lighting, so whether it can be used as a lantern or even a flashlight, and only 4 of the fans here could do that. I also ranked each of the fans based on the quality of their light. I think the Nitecore was the best because the light was diffused and frosted, so it wasn't too harsh on the eyes. The Odin and Coleman were both super bright and super glaring, and honestly, I didn't like using their lantern features. And our last feature here is the charge out function, so basically, can you charge your phone with the camping fan? And here's all the info that you need to know. Only 2 of the fans here could charge my phone, and that's the Nitecore and Coleman One Source, and the Nitecore capacity was way bigger, so I could get a lot more charge out of it. The rest of the fans couldn't charge my phone, so there's not a lot of info here to give you, except for the capacity of the internal battery for the rechargeable fans and also the number of D batteries required. Okay, so here's a list of all the features that we just went through. We've got these 7 different features right here. These are most of the important ones, and based on all these features, here's how I rated each of my camping fans for features. The next test is durability, and I first put all my camping fans through half an hour of moderate rainfall, which looked like this, and I'll have some shots of all the camping fans in the rain on the screen here. After the rain test, I checked all the fans, and here are the results. Only 2 of the fans came with a waterproof rating, which isn't a very high rating of IPX4. The rest of them had no rating. And after the rain test, only 1 managed to survive perfectly, and that's the Coleman One Source. The ports are tightly sealed and are right at the bottom of the fan, so no water got in. The next 4 fans were still in great working condition, but water had leaked into the input port for the Geek Air, the battery compartment of the CPX6, the input port of the Claymore, and the battery compartment of the O2Cool Treva. And very, very sadly, my Odin and Nitecore didn't survive. I lost the light function on the Odin, and the fan of the Nitecore doesn't turn on anymore. Overall, fans are meant to be used in the heat to cool you down, and they just tend not to work too well in the rain, I guess. I also looked at the main material each camping fan is made of, as well as the warranty length of each fan, and here's all the info that you need to know. Based on everything I went through for this 5th durability test, so that's the rain test, the materials, and the warranty, here's how I rated each camping fan. The next test is portability, and here's a quick table showing you all the info that you need to know. The second column shows the weight, so for the battery operated fans, I included the weight of the required D batteries. The third column shows the pack size of each fan, and the fourth column shows whether the fan can be disassembled or taken apart for a more compact storage size. And based on all the info I gave you, here's how I rated each of the camping fans for their portability. And finally, here are the overall results. I spent almost $300 buying all these camping fans and about 2 months testing them all, so if this video has been helpful, please help me hit that like button. As usual, I color-coded the ratings. Green is for good, yellow is not so good, red's pretty bad. And this weightage is based on what I think is the most important when it comes to camping fans. I thought wind power was the most important, followed by runtime, features, and durability. And in the last column here, you'll find all the overall scores for each camping fan. But before you buy any of these, I'll talk you through my recommendations first, and here's everything that I'm gonna go through to help you pick the best one for yourself, and also, of course, which to avoid. Let's start with my top pick, and as you can see from the overall score here, that's the Claymore V600 Plus. It did pretty dang well in all the different tests that I showed you throughout this video, but now you may be wondering, does it have any cons? Well, here are a few. First, if you're looking for a camping fan with a built-in lantern, well, this isn't a fan for you. It's just a fan with no lighting. But honestly, that's fine for me because my camping lanterns, if you've seen that video, do way better than any fan plus lantern combo here. If you have the space, I will actually recommend a separate lantern and a separate fan rather than getting the two together. Another con to this fan is that it has the longest charge time of any of my fans, and here's a table summarizing what you need to know. The first 3 fans are battery operated, so they don't need any charging. The next 4 are rechargeable, and that's the Claymore right at the bottom with a whopping 6.5 hour charge time. So just take note of this and cater enough time to get this fan fully charged. But that's it. Those are the only 2 cons that this fan has, which doesn't bother me at all, and that's why my Claymore is my favorite fan. My runner-up pick is the Nitecore NEF10 camping fan, and it scored just 0.1 points less than the Claymore. Honestly, I really love the Nitecore 2, and compared to the Claymore, the runtime is longer, it makes less noise, and it's much more feature-rich. But the biggest reason I was reluctant to recommend this as the best overall fan is because it went kaput after the 30-minute moderate rain test. And I know the reason why. It doesn't show up on the video well, but the wiring of the fan is exposed to the elements. Like you can actually see the wiring with your own eyes. So I think water got in there and it blew out the whole fan wiring. But I managed to use this fan through a little bit of light rain and it held up perfectly fine. Just keep it away from heavy rain. The Nitecore is also my favorite tent fan with light. I have my own lantern, so I prefer to use those, but this fan plus lantern combo works really well if you're just a casual camper and you want to save a little bit of money. There are 3 fans with lanterns in this video, and these are the Nitecore NEF10, the Odolin, and the Coleman CPX6. How does the Nitecore compare? Well, in terms of fan speed, the minimum speed is about the same for all these fans, but the Nitecore has a much higher max fan speed than the other 2. Next, the airflow distance is much longer than the other 2. And the Nitecore is also much quieter than the other 2. The Coleman's and Odolin's low fan speed are just as noisy as the Nitecore's high fan speeds, and honestly I really hated the sound of the Coleman and Odolin fans. And the Nitecore is super feature rich compared to the other 2, complete with mobile charging, a sleep timer, and a removable safety cage so you can clean the blades. The other 2 fans don't have any of these features at all. So I mean, obviously the clear winner is the Nitecore. My testing also showed that, and I'll put the overall scores here for you guys to check out and compare the 3 different fans. There's one last award I want to give to Nitecore, and that's for being such fantastic value for money. Here's how much I personally paid for all of my camping fans, and this is in US dollars. These do not reflect the current prices on Amazon. These are just the prices that I paid for my fans. And I've arranged all the fans here according to the overall score that you saw. I mean, the Nitecore performed the second best, but it's less expensive than the first best and even the third best camping fan. That's why I think it's really great value for money. The current price can fluctuate, but even if you have to pay full price, which I think might be about $50, but don't quote me on this, that still seems worth it if you need a fan and lantern combo. After the Claymore and Nightcore, we have the Geek Air, and I'd recommend this if you need a larger fan to cool down more people, like maybe if you're sharing a tent with like 1 or 2 other people. The Claymore has a blade diameter of 6 inches, the Nightcore is 5 1/4 inch, but the Geek Air has a whopping 8.5 inch diameter. It's the only fan in this video that's made out of almost completely high quality metal, and the rest are mostly plastic fans. And it's the only fan that has a continuous adjustment when it comes to controlling the fan speed. I can go from the minimum of 1.6 meters per second, turn it up ever so slightly to 2 meters per second, then 2.5, 3, 3.5, all the way up to 3.9 meters per second. And in between is fine as well. Whatever I like, this fan has it. On the other hand, all the other fans in this video have discrete select levels that I can pick from, and I can't pick from anything in between these levels. The Claymore is still pretty decent with 4 fan speeds I can pick from. The Nightcore has 3 speeds, so still not too bad, but the rest have only 2 speeds that I can pick from, just high speed and low speed, that's all. It's not great really. There is one fan that's slightly bigger than the Geek Air, and that's the O2 Cool with a blade diameter of 9 1/4 inches, and this is the biggest fan that I've got. I think that this is an okay alternative to the Geek Air if you think the Geek Air is too expensive. I paid about $70 for the Geek Air and only about $30 for the Treva, the O2 Cool Treva, so that's less than half the price, and the O2 Cool Treva doesn't do too bad in terms of scoring too. It's like only half a point less than the Geek Air, so why didn't I choose that? Well, mainly because it's not really a camping fan. The base of the fan is really narrow compared to the Geek Air, and sometimes when I take this camping, there's uneven ground all around. This fan will just fall over on its own, which is obviously not great. There's one type of camping it's perfect for though, and that's RV camping. The O2 Cool Treva is my only fan that has a dual power source, so not only does it take 6 D batteries, which you can see here, it comes with this AC adapter, so that allows you to plug it into any wall plug in your RV and have it run like this. Connecting the adapter automatically disconnects the batteries from the circuit, so you won't be spending too much on expensive D batteries. But they still come in handy if you're occasionally camping in a tent. At least you don't have to buy 2 separate fans. Next up, after the Treva, we have the Coleman One Source, and I guess that's the best Coleman fan I have. Honestly, I'm only putting this here because I didn't know where else to place it. I recommend this One Source fan only if you have other One Source products. Coleman has this like entire One Source collection of different camping gear, all powered by the same battery. That's this One Source battery and the Coleman fan right here, hence the name. But if you don't have any of these, just go with the Claymore, the Nightcore, or the Geek Air. I think they're much better, as you can see from the overall scores here. After the One Source, we have the Odolin, and that's my super cheap pick. I paid like only $17 for this fan, and that's the cheapest fan I have. It's also the smallest fan I have, coming in at just 4 inches across. You can't use it for more than one person, and the quality and durability isn't the best. I think ultimately you do get what you pay for. And just take note that this fan takes 2D batteries every single time. So that's like $2 to $4 every single time you use it. And that adds up after a while. After like 10 camping trips or so, this fan would have gone up to like $35 to $40. Honestly, I'd just get the Nightcore if you can spend a little bit more. Last and definitely the least, we have the Coleman CPX6, which I do not recommend to anyone. The biggest con you can see here from the chart is that it seriously lacks wind power. It doesn't push air at all because the fan blades are made of foam. They're meant to be safe for kids, but this is a seriously fatal design flaw. And what's the use of a fan that doesn't push any air? Do not get this. Trust me, you will 100% regret it. And if you've decided to go with Claymore, which doesn't come with an inbuilt lantern, and you need to buy a lantern, well, I've got the perfect video for you right here. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you in that one.